welcome back to Daily Portal. Now, before the break, I did tell you we're going to have a little chat about God of War Ragnarok. And you might have seen there's a few spoilers going around the old internet. So the whole game has been released a week before, with videos of the games ending up online and other content spreading around. So if you want to not see what's been going on for the old God of War, you're going to want to keep your eyes a little bit shut. Now, Cory Barlog, the studio head, tweeted his disappointment about that, because it is such a shame when you've been working on a game for so long and the community are so excited to play it, really excited to get on board with it, and there's spoilers going all about the place. We don't need that. So there's been a statement put out from Santa Monica as well. And Cory did tweet his apologies and his basically remorse for it going out at such an early stage. It is such a shame. And, you know, the last thing you want to see is spoilers for a game you've been waiting so long to get your hands on. But, you know, this happens in this world and people can upload stuff. They can upload screenshots and videos. So, Matt, how do you feel about this? I mean, what do you think? Obviously, spoilers is not a new thing, but it's very frustrating for both the developers and for the fans of the game itself, right?
I think it sort of speaks to hype culture in many ways, because people are so excited about whatever the latest thing is coming out. They don't want to wait for it to be ready or wait for it to... They want it now. Everything is wanted now. We live in a world where you want a TV show, you just press a button and there it is. Or you want to watch, you know, you want to order food, bam, 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 food's on my door. So I think there's a certain element there where there are people who are just so hyped for something that they'll do anything to get it.
Yeah.
It's always a risk when retail, you know, we talked about Call of Duty in Part 1, there's nothing on the disc. Obviously, the whole game's on the disc here, so if someone gets a hand on it and copies it, and bam, it's all gone, that's it. There's nothing you can really do.
No.
Especially for something that is as excited and hyped up as this. But I don't really understand why you would want to spoil it for yourself rather than experiencing it.
I think that's it. And it's a shame for, like, say, Cory, for example, who, you know, is genuinely gutted that it's gone out and it has ruined it for everybody. Are there any measures that do you think could be taken to maybe prevent this a little bit more? But I suppose the internet's the internet, right?
I think you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because you can try and hide it for as long as possible, but eventually somebody leaks it, somebody offers money for it to happen. The same with music, you know, it doesn't matter how long they try and keep music away for. As soon as a physical copy goes somewhere, it's online.
Yeah.
You know, weirdly, what Call of Duty did actually makes a lot of sense in terms of not having it on the disc and just letting it all be accessible online when it's digitally available. Right now, you can go and have it. But yeah, I think otherwise there is little you can do to stop everybody doing it. I mean, it's obviously illegal, and there are legal measures you can take if you know who, but it's so difficult to find out who.
It's so vast, isn't it? The internet is so vast. I mean, it's hard to trace, isn't it? To know who's done
it. Yeah, and it's not difficult to just put yourself on a VPN and hide your IP address, and suddenly no one's going to have a clue who you are.
Absolutely.
And how on earth this has all got out. I'm just more interested in the people who want to spoil it for themselves. Like, I don't really understand that motivation.
It's a shame, isn't it? I mean, like, but you can't escape it, and I think that is the worst thing about it. But I mean, for the community itself, do you think it's going to impact whether they're going to go out and buy the game? I mean, if they've seen a spoiler, do you think they're going to be still wanting to go and get the game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the game was so successful. You know, the reboot, I guess you can call it, from 2018 was such a huge hit. That's why people are so excited.
Absolutely.
And the story isn't the only reason people are playing this game. It's not, you know, the cutscenes. Yeah, okay, they're very important. It's a big story game, but you know, the action and the combat and the mechanics and the world and exploring and all the boss monsters and boss fights. I think there's a lot of motivation there. People still want to go and play this game.
Definitely.
You know, there's so much more in that world that people will want to go and see.
Oh, definitely.
And I think a lot of people as well are going to have just avoided it. Especially now they've heard, they're going to be like, right, I'm just going to block everything out.
Don't look at the hashtags. Yeah. Don't get involved in that.
Don't go on the websites. Don't do any of that. You know, we haven't shown anything, obviously, because you don't want, you know, we wouldn't.
Absolutely. We don't want to send it out. Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it for anyone. So I think it's more important that we, you know, you want to, it's like any game, I guess. You can, you know, I know people who didn't, big games come out and they don't even look at trailers. They just avoid everything.
Because they just don't want to, because trailers can be quite intrusive. Sometimes I watch a trailer and I think, I've seen the whole thing here. I've seen it all.
Yeah,
literally.
And you've seen like the surprise, you know, because they don't think about what surprises they want to hide from you. So it's they show you something because it's magnificent, but it's like you could have hidden that.
Yeah.
And that's something I discovered by myself.
Absolutely.
And I would have loved to have done that. So I do get that kind of element. I think a lot of people will do that, but this is, it's just, and you talked about feeling sorry for Cora. I think the whole dev team who worked so hard for so many years, a lot of them don't make a lot of money or, you know, have to work stupid hours to make this happen. to have all their work spoiled like that it must suck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because games they take such a long process. I mean, like, you know, games that have been created like 4 or 5 years ago and they come out 4 or 5 years later. It must be really frustrating. But I mean, the evolution of something like God of War is great to see. I mean, the graphics look incredible for this game as well.
Yeah, and the mechanically, it's going to be improving on what they already did with the last game.
Yes.
I'm interested to see how they develop the boy as they called him, see where that kind of story goes. And yeah, just seeing what other, because obviously it's Norse mythology and there's lots of crazy things you can do, lots of monsters. You know, I'm a big mythology fan. I like the old God of War games as well, which is all sort of Roman and Greek mythology and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see kind of what how they expand on that. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how they react to this longer term, particularly Sony, because Santa Monica are a Sony-owned studio.
Yes.
And this doesn't just affect Santa Monica, this affects Sony as well.
Yeah.
So they might, you know, they will probably not be very happy with this as the publisher. I would be interested to see how they go about potentially their next big sort of release, which I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, whether or not they decide to clamp down on how that's released in a way to try and avoid this happening again.
Absolutely, I think that's it. And I think it is unavoidable sometimes, but, you know, I think we just have to go along with it. But it's great because, I mean, the way you're talking about it, you know, you're still really excited. I know you haven't seen any spoilers, but you're really excited to play the game.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Just don't look for it, and you don't have to see it, which I think is great.
Getting off Twitter is generally a good rule for life anyway. Like, your mental health will be crippled. Everett, your mental health is not worth being on Twitter all the time.
You heard it here first, all right? You heard it here first.
Take a moment, walk away for a bit. There's plenty of other games to play. There's loads of other games you can play right now. So go and play those until this comes out.
That's exactly it. Well, Matt, thank you for that advice. So I think we're all going to take that on board. But yeah, keep away from the hashtags God of War Ragnarok. You'll be all right. You'll thank us later. You'll thank us later. Now, we're going to go into a slightly different flavour with this next one, and we're going to go have a look at some Bayonetta news, Bayonetta 3 news in particular. So the former voice actor Helena Taylor has asked fans to not buy the game and instead donate to anti-abortion groups in Kentucky, amongst some other charities, which, for a start, causes a lot of controversy to be giving money to something that divides a lot of people. The developers discuss how they are as well indebted to Nintendo for allowing them to create such a successful series, and they've got someone else on board to take the reins, so it's not too much of an issue there. But Bayonetta 3, are you a fan, Matt?
I haven't played it yet. I want to. It only came out on Friday, same day as Call of Duty, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
This has been a huge drama because they've had it all started when Helena, don't know the name, can't pronounce the name.
On the right lines.
She basically said she was only got it offered $4,000 to do it, which is, it ended up, well, they said that wasn't true. And then there was this whole thing back and forth and they're all very upset. And then, is it Jennifer Hale, who I think is the one who's doing it now? She's the one who is kind of trying to say, look, please buy the game. I don't want any of this to happen.
Yes.
I was just hired to do a job. I'm really sorry. And so obviously someone's not telling the truth. Or there's got to be something in the fire that kind of proves the point. I kind of get why you'd be like, if you want to protest the game by not buying it, give the money to charity instead. That's a very noble thing to do.
Yeah.
But to do it for an anti-abortion thing, I think it's pretty obvious that's not a nice thing to do.
It is very, very not, and it's to boycott it in particular and then give it to that. I agree with you, Matt. It's not great. So don't want to get onto that.